Hey guys, what's going on? It's djTLM. You're watching djTLMtv. Welcome to Making the Beat. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how I made the beat for my single Show Me, out Tuesday, August 11th. Go cop that. And I made this beat over 2-3 years ago. Did the second part of the beat last year, so I might be a little bit rusty when it comes to remembering the process, but I'm going to show you some of the sounds I used, how I made the beat in Maschine, break down the beat, and show you how I did the tempo transition using automation in Cubase. So let's check it out right now. So this is Maschine, Native Instruments Maschine. This right here, this is just a controller. Just like you have a DJ controller, it's basically an empty shell, and you use it to control the Maschine software, which is inside the computer. And I prefer to have hardware. I like pads. I used to use an MPC. This just feels comfortable, but now I have the power of my computer, and Maschine comes with 6 to 8 gigabytes worth of sounds, loops, kits, a lot of good stuff in there, and you can sample as well. So I'm very content using this. I like the workflow, and the project is open right now. This is called Lego, just the work title I had. You got to think of a work title that might not end up being the actual title of the song. Version 3, this is the version that has both beats in there, but not the tempo transition. If there's anyone out there who knows how you can do automation, tempo automation in Maschine, let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to know. But I did it using Cubase. But let's just start with the beat. It's a basic beat, not a lot of sounds in there. I'm just gonna break it down. First of all, this is the hip-hop beat. Sometimes when I make beats, I'll start with the drums. Sometimes I'll start by sampling and having that sample and just building everything around that. And in this case, I just ran into a sound because this beat is made with sounds from Maschine. All the sounds are kits that are in Maschine. Some might be from expansion packs because I did buy a lot of the expansion packs, but it's all, let's say, stock sounds. And I like them. I like the sounds. So I had this kit called the Bounce Arp kit, and it's just a kit filled with different type of synth, arpeggio synth sounds, and I like the sounds that are in there. It sounds like and that's that sound, yo. So I could just loop that and make a nice beat with that because that sound just caught my attention. It's open, it's crisp, clear, and I really liked it. But that's the thing with pads, at least for me. That's why I love working with pads. You always start to play around. If you have sounds under the pads, you're not just going to play them in a particular order. You're going to mess around until you come up with something that appeals to you. And in my case, that was not using the total length of the sound because it's pretty long. Make it shorter. I made it shorter and played this pattern. Recorded that, and that is the foundation of the beat. The whole beat was built around that sound. So the second layer that I added to it was the bass line, but it's not a bass line made with a bass. It's a bass line made with a kick. I wanted that low end in there, and I took kind of like an 808 sounding kick drum and added that to the sound. So I added it in a melodic fashion, and it adds a bass line. So I hope you can hear that. And I did that by taking that sound. This is from the Down Inside kit, and right here you have that low, deep, dirty sounding 808 type kick. But I wanted to play a melody with it. So what you do is you go into pad mode, you hit keyboard, and now that sound has been spread across your 16 pads, and you can use it to make melodies, and in this case I made something that went along with that synth sound. So and I like the way that sounds. So that's how that beat starts. You get that synth sound, then the bass comes in, and then of course the most important part, the drums. Now for the drums I did a lot of stacking, layering, however you want to call it, and what that means is that you don't just take one kick and one snare, but you actually have multiple kicks and multiple snares, and you layer them on top of each other. You make a stack, and you don't play all those sounds at the same volume. You start to mess around with the volume and the EQ of each of these sounds, and you end up with a kick and a snare, but it's made up out of more than one kick and snare. So I took two different drum kits. One is called the Club Stomper kit, and I took a kick, and it's a weird kick. It doesn't have, it has some power, but it's not a real full kick. It sounds a little bit distorted, but I liked what it could add to the total sound. So that's a kick, and that's like the main snare. That one is in there the loudest, and I have a snap sound. So that snap and that snare go together, and I have, let's see, where is it? Number 7. No hi-hats, but shakers. I love shakers, and shakers add a little bit more swing than a hi-hat, and I thought I could use that because the rest of the beat is pretty straightforward. That adds a little bit of swing to it if you add a shaker with not one steady volume, but just play around with the velocity a little bit. So those, if I play those together, it sounds like this. Alright, and then I had a second kit. Now right now it's called Pads. That's not the name of the kit, but I took some sounds from this kit. I think it's called a trapping kit. I'm not sure anymore. Again, a kick. This sounds pretty thin, but the kick had some nice, a nice bit of punch to it, and I knew I already had that deep 808 kit that had all the low in there, so this kick didn't need to be very bassy. It needed to have a little bit of that punch in there, and this one has that. Another snare, not too loud with a lot of reverb on it, and another snare, a little bit different, and another snare. So these together sound like this. Now if you would just hear this kit, it would sound weak, a little bit soft, but if you hear it together with that Club Stomper kit, it sounds pretty full. So that's the drums right there, and then of course you have that 808 type of kick, that low kick, but I decided not to add it in the melodical way, so it's playing melodical with the sound at first, and I actually recorded it like that and used it like that under the drums as well, but I wasn't too happy with it. It sounded too happy. So I decided that when the actual drums came in, I wanted that low 808 to just be low and dirty and not to be melodic. So I just went with that deep low sound, and then you get so that adds that nice deep low end to it. I'll put specifications of all the equipment in the comment section, oh sorry, in the description box, so what type of mic I used, my audio interface machine, everything. So anything you need to know about the equipment and software I used, it will be in the description box, so please check that out for any of that information. So that was the first beat. That was the beat that I had 2-3 years ago, and when I finally decided that I wanted to do something with it, I felt it needed an upgrade of some sort. And what I do a lot with older beats is I just try out some new patterns to see if I can add anything or change anything to make it fresh again. Sometimes you don't want to do that. You just know that the beat is ready and you don't want to mess around with it. But in this case, what I did, when I want to change something, just experiment, I'll just take a new pattern and just start messing around. I still have the old patterns and I'll just see if I can come up with something new. But I wanted to do it at a different tempo and completely different. Like I said, I'm going from 93 and that second beat is 143. This is like a trap tempo, totally different. And I couldn't do the transition inside Maschine, but you can just change the tempo and work on a different pattern, and you can always change it back when you go to that first part. So let me just show you. Right around here is where you have that second beat, and if I play it right now, that sounds a bit weird, and that is because I'm still at 93. So if we're going to check out this part of the beat, I'm going to have to turn this all the way up to 143. Right now I'm using my mouse, but I could do that here on the hardware as well. Just change the tempo. So now it's at 143, and then it sounds like this. So same sounds. I did add one vocal sample right there, that hey sound. That's also from that same pads kit right here, if I'm not mistaken. It's called vocal trapping. That's the sound. It's one of those standard sounds. You do hear it a lot, but it went well. I don't always feel you need to be original and add something else if an existing sound fits what you need. So same drum sounds, same drum kits, same low kick, nothing changed. The only thing I changed is I made some new drum patterns, different drum patterns. And in the Club Stomper kit, I took out the shaker because, like I said, I like that shaker because it adds a certain type of swing. When I'm at 143 doing a trap tempo, I'm not looking for that swing, so I took that out and I added a normal hi-hat. And it's playing really fast, and I'm not doing that by going all out with my fingers. You just hit note repeat, and then if you hold your pad, it will automatically play it in a certain speed, at a certain speed, and you can switch that up by changing it. For instance, it's at 1/8 right now. I'm going to 1/16. And you can mess around with that by holding your pad and switching between speeds. So and make whatever type of pattern you want to make. But I felt that type of hi-hat, the double tempo hi-hats, triple tempo, works better with that certain with that particular pattern. So I'm not going to show you all the different layers again because, like I said, it's the same layers. That's at 143, and I use the same sound. I'll let you hear that. It is that same bounce ARP kit and that same synth, but now it's playing like this. So it's still that same sound, so you will have that same feel, but I'm playing it real short, just staccato, short taps on the pad, because that worked a lot better with that tempo. So I recorded that. I have that transition part. This is the part where the tempo needs to go up, where I'm just playing the synth and a sound. That's the sound. That's going to take a while. I'm going to let you hear it. that goes up and 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 up. That was the original plan. I was gonna have that sound playing as a build-up while the tempo transition was happening. Now what I ended up doing in the final version is not playing that sound through Maschine, but that's the sound I'm using to scratch during the tempo transition. And the cool thing about that sound is it goes up. So while I'm scratching, you're gonna hear that in the final version. While I'm scratching, that scratch sound goes up, up, up to a higher key every time, and that adds to the build-up. But that was the original plan. Ended up not using it in Maschine, but scratching it live. That felt much more natural. Since I am a DJ, I want to represent that in the track. I got to show you what I got. So what I did do, when I switched to the trap tempo, I have that playing for like 16 bars. And then for the second 16 bars, I added another sound, and that's the sound that I have right here. That's that sound. Also standard sound from that trapping kit. I just needed to add something. I didn't want there to be just 32 bars of a trap beat with no variations in there, and I thought that would add something nice to it. And then of course there's that one track that I've not been playing yet, and that's the vocal track. Alright, so next up we have the vocals. I recorded some vocals that I wanted to use in the track, and I did that with the mic that I have here, and I recorded my vocals. I don't even remember. I think I recorded them with Audition. It might have been in Cubase, but I think it was Audition. What I did is I had my headphones on. I had the beat playing over the headphones, so I had the right tempo, and then I just said a couple of lines that I had. I wasn't even sure if I was going to use them all, but I just recorded them, and after that I placed them inside Maschine. I was planning on playing around with at least some of the vocals inside the track as an actual sample, and that's why you hear, when you hear the beat come in and the drums begin, you get to put your hands up, put your hands up. I didn't want to do that live. I really wanted to do that just from a sample perspective and play that on the pads. So I recorded it, put it inside Maschine, and just spread it across the pads, and you get
hands up, put your hands up. Real DJ, Amsterdam in the building.
Never used that
Lego.
one.
All my party people, put your hands up. We about to set it off, put your hands up. If you came to go crazy, put your hands up. Everybody in the club, put your hands up. DJ, put your hands down, show me what you got. Come on, put your hands up, put your hands up, put your hands up.
That's what I want. I wanted to be able to play around with it like that. So now we get to the more technical part. This is gonna be a little bit hard to explain. I'm gonna do my best. Normally when I'm done inside Maschine, because when I make beats with Maschine as a standalone unit. So I only open my Maschine software, and I control that software with my hardware right here. When I'm done with a beat and I want to start messing with the EQ and mixing, I do that in Cubase. I have to export every sound from the beat separately to have them as separate tracks inside Cubase. So every kick, every snare, every sound needs to be exported separately so I can place it inside Cubase as separate tracks. If you would take all the drums and just export them at once, and you have one track with the drums in there, that would mean that any manipulation would affect all sounds. So if I would take out some bass, it would take the bass out of the kick, the snare, and the hi-hats. And you don't want that. You might only want to take some bass out of your snare, etc., etc. So they need to be in there separately so you can manipulate every sound separately. So inside Cubase, you can see that I have my kick drums, all three of them, the blue ones. I have my snap and 4 snares, the purple ones. I have my shaker, my hi-hat. The green ones are all the synth type of sounds, and yellow is vocals, and red are the scratches that I recorded inside Cubase. But In this case, I needed that tempo transition from 93 BPM to 143 BPM, and I could not do that inside Maschine, which also means I could not export the sounds from Maschine, because if I would do that, it would export all my sounds at one tempo. So everything would be exported at 93 BPM, and that whole trap part would sound way too slow. So what I need is for Cubase to tell Maschine how to play, at what tempo it needs to play. So the two need to communicate, and you do that by first of all making a tempo automation track inside Cubase. You go to Project, Add Track, and you can choose all these different tracks, and I needed tempo. I made a tempo track. That's my track right here. This will control the tempo of the entire project. So it started out at 93 BPM, and you can just draw inside this track. So I made a point right here because I wanted it to play from 93 from bar 1 to bar 41, and from bar 41 I wanted it to increase until it got to bar 53, and there it needed to be 143 BPM. So if you look at the BPM right there, it's 93, still 93. And now if you're looking at that BPM, you can see that it's increasing, and now I'm at 143. So that's what I need Cubase to tell Maschine, and the only way I can make it tell Maschine what to do is to open Maschine as a plugin inside Cubase. So not using it standalone anymore, I'm going to open it as a VST instrument. You go to Devices, VST Instruments, and you can just add anything right here. And in my case, I can add Maschine or Maschine 2. So I added Maschine, and I can open that right here. There's Maschine. The project is already open, the right project. And now you can see that the BPM is 93. Now I'm going to move forward inside my Cubase project. All right, bar 41. Now if I go to bar 40, whatever, 43. Now you can see that inside Maschine it's already 100 BPM. If I move a little bit more forward, 107, 15, 21, until we get to bar 53, and now it's 143 BPM. So now it's following Cubase's tempo transition. That's what I needed Maschine to do. Maschine could not do it itself, and now I make Cubase. Cubase is the master now, and it's telling Maschine how to play. So now the next step that I had to do is I had to record each sound from Maschine into Cubase individually. So I hope you understand what I mean by that. I had to play each and every sound, go through that whole tempo transition and everything, and record how it was being played by Maschine as an audio track inside Cubase. So I had to do that like 18 or 20 times to get all my separate sounds in there. That takes a lot of work, and actually I'm not going to show you how I did that with every track. Yeah, you can understand. Like I said, this is a little bit technical, and I hope I'm explaining it in a well enough fashion. If you still don't understand, maybe in the future when I'm making a new beat, I'll just leave the camera on while I'm doing that so you can watch me do that. But that took up a lot of work, and once that was done, I had all my separate audio tracks with that tempo transition in there, and now I could move on and start adding my scratches. So you're gonna hear that in the final product this Tuesday, but I recorded some scratches. You've seen me record scratches before, so that's actually not that interesting right now because this is called making the beat, not recording the scratches. I hope this gives you a little more insight into how I work. I use Maschine. That's my go-to piece of equipment and software. Usually do it standalone. After I'm done, export the files, the sound separately, open them in Cubase so I can just work on practicing my mixing skills, my audio mixing skills. And if I want Maschine to do something that I can't get it to do on its own, I can let Cubase be the master and control Maschine as a plugin. So that info could help you out. And once again, if you have any info on how to do stuff like that inside Maschine, let me know in the comment section. I'm definitely curious to find out. I couldn't find any info back then. maybe there is new info now or new updates that can make it happen inside Maschine 2. So let me know.
Put your hands up. All my party people, put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. DJ, put your hands down. Show me what you got. Break it down. Come on.